for you. Okay, go.
Okay, well, I went to I was required by the courts to go to a MAD class.
Okay,
To go to a MAD
let's start
class.
over and talk loud, please.
All right.
Okay. Say I got a DUI, and because of that,
Okay, I got a DUI, and because of that, part of my requirements for completion was to go to a MAD class. And I thought it was just something I needed to get out of the way, but in all actuality, after going to it, I was pretty seriously affected by it. I don't know what I expected when I went, but I thought it was just something to get over with. But after listening and watching and seeing how devastating the lives of the people that are affected, I mean, a guy that just lost his entire family. From 1 minute, he was talking to his wife on the phone, and then hung up. She said she'd be home, and his life just changed like that. And it's over pretty much for him. I mean, there were people in there that were. This happened 10 years ago, and they're crying in front. You know, it's pretty serious shit. It's not something that you should. I don't know. It just had an effect on me, and you know, I went to the last Friday, and just every time I think about it, it kind of, you know, it's not just something to take lightly. I thought at the time, when it was over, that everybody should at least go and see what's happened. And that's it. That's pretty much.
so because you got they're not going to be able to hear me. Because you got a DUI,
Yeah.
will it? I mean, you've stopped drinking, but can you tell me how you got your DUI real quick? What your blood alcohol level was, and that you have stopped drinking, and what your drink of choice is?
Well,
And try
sure.
to look at the me.
Oh, okay. At the time of the DUI, I was pretty much a full-blown alcoholic, and I knew it too. I had known it for quite some time, and was afraid to quit. I just when you get to that point, quitting seems impossible. It's become a part of your life, and you don't know anything different, and you can't imagine anything different. But that 2 hours at the end of the day was such a blissful reprieve from the hell that my daily existence had been, that it had become necessary. It was life-sustaining, and I thought I would die without it. And so I knew I needed help, and I wasn't ready to go get that help at the time. But what I was ready to do was to go down and get something to eat, and I had only had my first drink, so I thought, you know, I'm fine. And quite frankly, I guess in my particular state, I was pretty fine, because I wasn't fine before I started drinking every day. And then once I started drinking, then I became fine, and then I got to the point where I was gone, and then I could go to sleep. So that was my life. My blood alcohol level when they pulled me over was 2.6, and that was my first drink. I only drank 2 drinks every night, so that was my first drink. And then the second one probably would have put me in the neighborhood of who knows what.
How could that be?
How could what
How
be?
could your blood alcohol content be so 2.6 on one drink?
Because my drinks were this big.
Okay, now you're saying something.
Okay.
So say that again, because my drink, and say it with that tone too.
Okay, well, you have to understand that when I started out, my drinks were just regular cocktail glasses, but then as the need progressed, I certainly didn't want to drink more than 2 drinks every night. I mean, that would mean I was an alcoholic. So my glasses got this big, and then they got this big, and then they got to be the tumblers, and I joke that I finally got to the point where I was using an office trash can, you know, so I could get by. But at any rate, when they pulled me over and they smelled alcohol, and I did the test okay for the most part. I mean, you know, I was okay that way. But he smelled alcohol. I smell alcohol, and I said, yeah, I had a couple drinks today. You know, so.
Did they take you to jail?
Well, you bet they did.
Can you tell me about your jail experience?
Sure. They check you in and
They don't know what you're talking about, so can you say yeah, they took me
oh,
to jail?
yeah. So here I got pulled over, and he smelled alcohol, and he put me in the police car, and they cuff you like so, and they call the tow truck to come, even though it's 2 doors down from your house. They're going to tow your car because the tow company obviously makes money, and so then you get to go down and they book you and they do the test and they fingerprint you and all that stuff, and then they throw you in the drunk tank and tell you to go to sleep. Well, the drunk tank has stuff on the floor that shouldn't be, not only should you not sleep on that, you shouldn't sit on that. So you know that you're going to be there for the next 8 hours, and you know you can't stand for 8 hours. So you sit down against the wall and you put up with the stench, and you put up with the other people who are sleeping, and you sit there for 8 hours and you pray to God that He please either take me or help me get out of this. Help me get out of this mess my life has become, and ask Him for forgiveness. And you do that over and over and over again. And I don't know. My prayer sessions now are about an hour and a half every morning. I get up early so that I can thank Him for taking away the misery that my life had become.
How is it? You are so good at this. You're the best person I ever recorded. How has sobriety been for you? And if you could say sobriety or being sober, or was hard at the beginning, or however you want to say it.
Well, being sober wasn't hard at the beginning. The aftermath of the DUI was devastating. My wife came and gave me divorce papers when I was trying to go through rehab, which cut it short. I can't, and so divorce means selling the house. I guess if you're independently wealthy, you don't have to do that, but I'm not. So I realized that I was losing my wife and my house and my respect. When you get a DUI, they make you feel like a criminal. I guess in some people's eyes you are. I look at it like it was my freedom, because it finally got me to the point where I could say that with God's help, and that I could finally be done with this. And so sobriety has been wonderful. I feel my strength coming back, my body, my mind. I think so much better. I react so much better. There's no shaking. I used to wait. In the morning I'd wake up and I'd have to do my signatures on anything that I had to do. And I had to get that out of the way by 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, because then the shaking would start. Spoons in general just were out of the question anymore, because you couldn't get the spoon to the coffee or whatever you were using. So that became, but you get creative. Food, when you go out to eat, I didn't want to sit there and shake while I'm trying to get the food to my mouth. So sandwich, I can pick that up and eat it. 2 hands, that kind of thing. I used to tell, when somebody would say, "Greg, what's wrong? Why are you shaking?" I said, I've got this disease, and don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody, because I don't want anybody to know. But it's just starting to take, and then I'd make up some story. So I always had my helpers take care of the intricate. I'm an electrical contractor, and take care of the intricate stuff because I just physically couldn't do it, and it was dangerous in some respects. I guess I've kind of gotten off but at any rate, once I started drinking though, those things would go away. The shaking would stop. All of a sudden you'd start seeing it smooth out, and I'd be able to, it makes television a hell of a lot more interesting than it actually is too.
So, was sobriety scary at all, or painful, or all good?
Anytime you've done something for a long period of time in your life, it's going to be scary. When you mix that with the fact that I was married 20 years, when you mix that with the fact that now you're going to be single, I didn't want to be single, but so there were other things in the mixture. Sobriety itself is surprisingly easy to get comfortable with. When you look at the hell, it just makes sense. It's like crossing the desert and finally getting to the oasis. That's what sobriety means. That's what it is.
What would you say to somebody that's sitting in a DUI class right now watching this? And if you could say to somebody that's sitting in a
what would I say? I'd say what they probably already know, and that's that don't do it again under any circumstances. Once you go to that MAG class, I swear that's the done deal right there. When you see a torn apart or a shattered life like that, I thank God. I mean, I could have been driving down. I went to get 2 tacos. Those 2 tacos cost me my house, my wife, not to mention all the money. I mean, you can make more money, but I lost a hell of a lot. But at the same time, I gained my freedom. So it's a double. I don't know how to look at it.
And you didn't lose your wife because you got drunk that day.
No. But I like to think of it that way. I think that was the thing that set her off the edge. That's what finally did it. And you're right, there was a bunch of things that were built up, and so. But I always like to think of it as that being the turning point right there, because it was a big deal. It is. Anybody that says it's not.
Were you ashamed?
Of course.
Could
I
you
think
say-
everybody is.
Could you say,
Oh, I was terribly ashamed. When getting hauled off to jail is if you've never been hauled off to jail, well, I guess if you're sitting in a DUI class, then you have been. So you know what I'm talking about. That's an extremely humiliating situation. I mean, these are civil servants that are taking us to jail. We pay them. So I paid this guy's salary so he could turn around and come get me and take me to jail. So obviously that's not a very pleasant thing to...
did you ever get to eat your tacos?
No.
Could you say, no, I never got to eat mine?
No, I never got to eat my tacos. They were sitting in the car, but when I went to get my car the next day, they were gone. They were gone. So I don't know if somebody else took them and ate them, or they threw them away at the salvage yard, or didn't want them stinking up the car just in case I didn't come and get it right away. But you also know that once you're in jail, you're also thinking about the fact that I got to go get my car, and it's going in the ticker is ticking, so it's going to get more expensive the longer you wait. So I didn't bother calling my wife to get home from jail. They threw me in Pomona court or jail, and I walked home. I walked home with sandals on, and about halfway home, because it's about 7 miles, one of the sandals broke. I'm walking the streets, and my feet are bleeding, and I finally get home, and the first thing I want to do is just go to sleep. But I also know that that's ticking on my car. So my wife wasn't up yet, so I went and took a shower real quick, got dressed, because that's the first thing you want to do is take a shower and get that off you. And then I walked to the place, and I got there and I realized that I didn't have my credit card with me. So I walked back. She was gone by then. Got my credit card and walked back. I tell you, that hell of a lot of walking that day. But I kind of also felt that I deserved it, and I needed that time to reflect on my life and in the change that needed to take place. And so it was that was a big deal.
How long has it been since you've had a drink now?
It's over a year.
Can you say I haven't had a drink?
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't had a drink now in a year and 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And I won't either. That's something that's never going to happen again. I don't even want to take a chance.